Hey guys, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Today I'm going to do a test with my new Instant Pot. In the previous video I unboxed the Instant Pot and did a little demo of cooking up some ribs. Worked out really good. So now I'm going to test the Instant Pot for using it off-grid off my inverter system. I'm going to shut everything down on the rig and just run the Instant Pot off the inverter. And I have a few ways to monitor the voltage and current and the amp hour use, so I'll just show you that first. This is my trimetric battery monitor system, so it monitors the battery voltage and the current that's going in and out of the battery. But it has one interesting feature. Let's go to this, amp hours. So right now we're at 0.1 amp hours. So as I draw my batteries down, it'll tell me how many amp hours I've used out of my batteries, so I can run various cycles on the Instapot and get an idea how many amp hours I'm using to do that. So that's pretty cool. Also in my battery compartment here I've set up a couple testers. I have a multimeter that's telling me my battery voltage. I also have a clamp on little amp meter here that'll tell me the current draw. I have it hooked up to the wire that goes to the inverter. Let's turn the inverter on here. There we go. And what I'm going to do first is put it on a 5-minute steam cycle. So it's going to have to warm up. We'll see how much wattage we're drawing, power and voltage and current. So here we go. And we'll put it on 5 minutes. Okay. We don't want it to keep warm after. So let's go check out the draw on it. Okay, so my amp meter's showing a 8.3 amp. Batteries have dropped down to 12.1. Oh, wait a minute, we're on AC. Whoops. Go DC amps. Overloaded. There we go. Sorry about that. So it's drawing 64.3 amps out of my batteries right now, which is what you would kind of expect. It's a 700 watt unit, so you times 63 by 12 and you're going to get right up around 700 watts. So let's go see what my trimetric's reporting. Okay, so it's reporting 66 amp draw. My voltage is down to 11.7. See what the amp hours looks like. Amp hours. Okay, so you can see it using amp hours there. Slowly using them up. Okay, so it took about maybe 10 minutes for it to come up to pressure. Now it's started its steam cycle, so I'll let that go for 5 minutes. Let's go see what the current is doing. So it looks like it's dropped right off as far as current goes. We're at 1.2 amps. We used 2% of my capacity, up at 12.5 volts. Let's just check how many amp hours it took to get up to pressure. Used 9.5 amp hours to get it pressurized. I guess once it gets pressurized it drops right down in current. Let's go check outside. Okay, the clamp-on meter concurs, 1.5 amps now, and the battery's at 12.5. Okay, there we go, finished its cycle. So let's check how many amp hours was used. Okay, 9.59 amp hours. Well, that's not too bad. Okay. So I reset my amp hours to 0 and I threw some chicken in there. That's why Angie showed up. And we're going to try a pressure cook. Look out, look out. Go here. We'll do a 30-minute, not to keep warm. Okay. So all I did was release the steam, and I just left the water in there and threw some frozen chicken in there. So it won't be exactly scientific from starting right up again, because it'll already be warm. So I imagine the warm-up pressurized time will be a little bit less, but it'll give you a general idea. Once again, it's drawing around 63.6 amps while it pressurizes. Let's see what the amp hours are doing. Same as before. So it uses quite a bit of energy to get started. And then once it reaches pressure, it drops right down. Be interesting though to see during the 30-minute pressure cooking cycle whether it cycles on and needs more juice again. There we go. And you can hear my about a 1,000-watt inverter here, pure sine wave inverter. And when it's drawing that much juice, both the fans come on. So it's working pretty hard, but it's handling it no problem. Okay, so the little Instant Pot's finished its 30-minute pressure cooking cycle. I heard it clicking quite a few times, and I checked, and it would go up to 63 amps or so again, and then click off, so it did cycle quite a bit. One thing I thought, I put frozen chicken in there, so it might have been requiring a little more juice than if, like amperage, if I used just, you know, room temperature or just a little bit cold chicken, not frozen, because it's having to kind of defrost at the same time. But anyway, let's go see what the amp hours were. There we go. 16.9 amp hours for a 30-minute pressure cooking cycle, which isn't too bad at all. Well, that cooked that chicken basically to fall off the bone. This falls apart. Nice. So I'm going to take out some more chicken here. Going to load it up again, and we're going to do a 4-hour slow cook. See how much juice that draws. So I zeroed my amp hours again, and we're going to go on a 4-hour slow cook mode. Well, we're at the 1-hour mark with the slow cooking, and we're at 11 amp hours of use. Like before, for it to heat up took pretty well 8-9 amp hours, and ever since that it's been using hardly any. I think it just cycles on once in a while to keep it warm. Three hours. One more hour to go. We're at 19.2 amp hours used. Okay, so we got our 4 hours done, and we're right around 24 amp hours. And the Instant Pot slow cooker cycle worked really well. I put a bunch of frozen chicken pieces in there, and they're all nice and tender. The meat's just falling off the bone. So it really works well there. So I used 25 amp hours in 4 hours on the slow cooker mode. But I had my solar turned off, so in reality, if I had my solar running, I'd easily be putting that energy back in, especially late in the day. Usually I'm charged up around by noon, and the rest of the sun energy is just kind of wasted. So with the slow cooker, or even in the pressure cooker, if I'm boondocking that sun, I'm not gonna be coming into the nighttime with less than 100% batteries, unless I slow cook at night. But I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a winner for boondocking. Well, there you go. I hope you found that helpful if you're considering using the Instant Pot out in your boondocking adventures. So to recap, this is a 700-watt Instant Pot, and I had a 1,000-watt inverter. And you saw the figures there, basically around 9 to 10 amp hours for the steam cycle there. when I used the slow cooker, I went up to near 25 amp hours. Now on my battery bank, I have 4 big golf cart batteries with a capacity of, I think it's 464 amp hours. My usable amp hours, I don't like to run them down too much, so I call my usable amp hours about 200 amp hours. So even at that, I'm only wearing my batteries down maybe an eighth of the charge. And of course, my solar, if it's during the day, is going to put that back in. So I'm quite happy with that. If you have 2 batteries, I'm pretty sure with a 1,000 watt inverter and 2 batteries, you'd have no problem running the Instant Pot. And especially if you had solar, you'd be able to recoup the energy. And of course, you can always plug your generator in at the same time too. But it's interesting how when it first heats up, that's when it draws the 700 watts. For about 5 or 10 minutes, it was drawing 63.5 amps out of my battery bank. But as soon as it got to pressure, it dropped right down to nothing, and then every once in a while it would just cycle a little bit. Under the slow cook mode, I heard it cycling quite often. Anyway, thanks for watching. Ray from loveyourrv.com, and Angie freaking out because there's a big bucket of chicken up there. Yeah, give me that chicken.